I think Microsoft does a lot of things that they should be commended for. They put out one heck of a lineup of first-party games this year. Of course, I mean, we obviously would have wished that these games would have been exclusive, or more of them would have been exclusive, or that, Microsoft would actually kind of open up and be a little bit more honest with the fans. But that doesn't look like that's going to happen, to be honest with you. So we just kind of have to deal with what we have right now. But what I thought was interesting is, like, there is still a lot of interesting, good talks and things like that. And this is absolutely something that I feel is detrimental to Microsoft. Not only that, but us as fans, we're the ones that kind of ended up getting screwed over a bit with this bit of news and announcements and stuff like that. So, yeah, it should be a very interesting situation, to say the least. I'm looking to hear you guys' feedback on it. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm Crap Gamer, of course. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. I do daily gaming content, so if you guys are looking for somebody who does content on the daily, I try to be fun yet informative, so yeah, there is that. I appreciate the feedback and anything you guys have to say. That's cool as well. So you guys remember going back a little bit, not too far, but to the Activision deal, and Microsoft was talking about how the reason why they wanted to buy Activision was because they wanted to get into the mobile market, Call of Duty Mobile, all that type of stuff. And it's so funny to me that this happened, because they were hyping up this game. They were hyping up Call of Duty Warzone on mobile, and talking about it. And again, the game has kind of failed, and now it's getting they're winding it down. So a little over a year after its release, Activision is pulling Call of Duty Warzone Mobile from the App Store and ending support for the game. Listen, so what are the benefits that we've gotten from this game, or this company being owned by Microsoft? Like, I would love to know what we've gotten as Xbox fans. I mean, they've put a few games in there for sure, but what exactly have they done to really go out of their way to make us losing our exclusives worth it, to make all this stuff worth it? What have they done to make any of this worth it? That's the big thing. Released back in March of 2024, the iOS and Android game is co-developed by Activision Shanghai, Beanox Digital Legends, and Solid State Studios, and supports shared progression with the console and PC versions of Warzone. It's Call of Duty's second mobile game after 2019 Call of Duty Mobile, which is developed by Team I Studios and continues to be supported. In a statement published, Activision said it decided to end support for Warzone Mobile because it has not met our expectations with mobile-first players like it has with PC and console audiences. Effective immediately, players will no longer be able to purchase digital currency, and no further seasonal content will be released for Warzone Mobile. From Sunday, May 18th, the game will no longer be available to download from stores. Players who have the game installed before this date will be able to continue to play online matches. Going forward, it says we'll be streamlining the scope of the game. This decision was made after careful considerations of various factors, and while we're proud of the accomplishment in bringing Call of Duty Warzone to mobile in an authentic way, it unfortunately has not met our expectations with mobile-first players like it has with PC and console. We know this news may be disappointing, and we truly appreciate the support, passion, feedback, and dedication from our community. We have special incentives for Warzone mobile players in Call of Duty Mobile and encourage players to try it for free. So yeah, very interesting. Listen, I get it. Microsoft, they say a lot of things, right? It's like, what part of that thing wasn't a sham? That whole FTC trial, like, you had Phil Spencer and everybody talking about how cloud gaming wasn't important and how it didn't matter, and they were, not really investing in it. You go from that to them bringing up cloud gaming at every single meeting that they do, and talk about how it's where we have growth, etc., and then putting all their stuff on different various TVs and things like that. So I find it a little bit funny that that happens the way that it does, but again, what can you expect from companies that lie like that. You know what I mean? Like Microsoft is a company that's going to lie to people, and that's kind of their forte. That doesn't mean that they don't bring anything to the gaming world, because they do. But at the end of the day, they're just going to do what is best for them in terms of money. And obviously the console gamer isn't up there, I guess, for whatever reason. Maybe that's their fault, to be honest with you. It's not like I don't blame the fans. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you trust a company that kind of goes out of their way to hate you if you actually bought their hardware? So yeah, that's something that I look at and I just kind of shake my head a bit. Like, hey, this is weird that this is kind of happening the way that it is. And I hope that that they do something that can like bring fans back to the fold a bit, because I just feel like lately they don't do a good job of that, and it's a real shame. Anyway, like kind of at the end of the day, it's up to people to decide what they want to do. Are people going to use Xbox? Are they going to do something else? I think, that really kind of comes down to the individual gamers. And, at the end of the day, we're all just gamers here, and I get it, people don't like to hear that or whatever the case may be, but, it's just the fact of nature, and Microsoft kind of screwing over fans or whatever, that's not really anything new, unfortunately. That's just how it is, and Microsoft is going to continue to do things that appease Microsoft, and that's all they pretty much care about at this particular point. Just as an Xbox fan, it's sort of hard to deal with at points, because Microsoft went and bought Activision, and because of that, they don't have the exclusive games and things like that anymore. And the reasons that they supposedly went and bought Activision are no longer valid or no longer successful. And listen, like, here's the thing I tried to say many times before, and that is the main thing, but with like games that are on Xbox and games that are on mobile or PC or whatever the case may be, is you have games designed specifically for mobile, and I know there's some instances of success with that. I think Fortnite on mobile is still pretty popular or something. They still have one of these Call of Duty mobile games is still popular, but it's like you've got to offer little free, cheap, chintzy experience, little things that people can play. I've stuck by this a million times, and I've said it a ton, is that it doesn't make sense to put big console experience games on a phone streaming, especially, but on a phone in general. So I don't know. It's weird. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, though. Like, how do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about the Activision deal in general? Is it something that you guys feel like it has paid off for gamers? Has it not paid off for gamers? Are you guys interested in like any of the stuff that that's kind of going on behind the scenes there? It really just kind of goes without saying, like what have we benefited from as fans, and is it something that Microsoft will be able to continue to do? Does it really matter? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because it just really does start to feel like Microsoft just doesn't care about the average gamer, and that's a real upsetting thing. Just as a fan, I know it's just video games. Trust me, I get it. Like, you don't have to sell me on that. It's just video games. Trust me, there's way larger things in the world, way more important. And again, I think that it really kind of comes down to individuals and what they want. But I've always felt like gamers should always have the definitive say when it comes to a lot of these things, because we're the fans, we're the ones that are going to buy this stuff or play it in Game Pass or whatever the case may be. And the fact of the matter is that Microsoft has done a really bad job, in my humble opinion, of curating some games and things that we actually need or whatever. And when they do stuff like this, it's like, well, you said it was over mobile, but now this mobile game is like kaput. So, what are you guys going to do? This is, in my opinion, poor management on Microsoft's part. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Please let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.